Welcome to the Safe Par Golf Podcast. We are on episode 160. I believe this is episode 3 for the year, and Derek is already not here. So Mitch, I don't know if you know this or not, I have a co-host. His name's Derek, and people have now started calling Derek the co-host because this is kind of the me show for a lot of it. And it's not very often that I feel like I'm the main character in something. You know, people are like, oh, this is my like main character energy or whatever. I think I'm the main character of Save Par Golf Podcast, which is kind of a scary thought to have me as the main character. I would say I'm more chaotic and unhinged than Derek, but I feel like that's me in general, is a little bit more chaotic. Anyways, so for the listeners, you miss Derek, so do I. I don't know what he's doing. But Mitch, you are from Hazard Hunters. I don't know if that is your company, but I'm going to learn about if it is your company. Um, so Australia, a couple other places in the world is kind of what I've gathered about where you were not headquartered, but you've kind of got people all over. So excited to learn about it. I like the three mascots, which I think I have memorized the name, so we'll talk about them as well because I have a favorite. But floor is yours. Can you tell me about Hazard Hunters Golf, kind of what it is, why it started, and then where you're from? Because it's definitely a first for us to have on the pod.
Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for having me. As you said, my name is Mitch, and I'm from Hazard Hunters. We are a brand based out of Australia predominantly, but also with some team members in Hong Kong as well. And we're a golf-inspired streetwear brand. As you said, at the core of our brand is our three characters, Hunter, Bunky, and Chippy, which all bring their individual personalities across into the brand that I think everybody can kind of relate to in different ways. And I'm very, very keen to hear which character is your favorite. I have a guess, but I want to hear who yours is to start.
Well, so I feel like everybody's character of choice should be Chippy because he's a super cool gator, right? Not a croc,
That
he's
would have
a
been my
gator.
best. Yeah.
So I actually like the wolf
Yeah, Hunter.
hunter. So the Wolves in Minnesota kind of go hand in hand. Our NBA team is the Timberwolves. I grew up a big Timberwolves fan. I have a Timberwolves pillowcase from, I shit you not, 2004 on my bed, and it has been on my bed since 2004. So for me, Timberwolves and Wolves have like a special place in Minnesota. So Hunter's definitely my favorite. Chippy's right there though, because it's just like, who doesn't want a cool gator? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
super cool.
exactly. Yeah. And I think for me personally, I think Chippy, like if I was going to golf with anybody, Chippy's the kind of guy that I'd want to golf with. Like he's just playful, fun, out there, making a bit of muckery, having some jokes, playing a few pranks on the others. Like he's just there to have fun. I think if out of all the crew, I think he's definitely the one that I'd want to tee it up with the most.
I think he's probably the one that everybody should have somebody like that they can tee it up with.
Exactly. Yeah.
This game is too serious at this point. You're, it's either you want to be scratch or you want to go drink. There's really no in between anymore. And I'd rather play on the course and drink. So Chippy, I'm coming with Chippy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's bringing the vibes every day, every day. No matter what your score is, you're having a good day with Chippy on the course for sure.
So when it comes to the three mascots,
hmm
why did you pick those specific three? Is it because of Australia? Because obviously, like we don't have. Well, I shouldn't say we. In Minnesota, we don't have gators. I wish we did. Be super cool. But also, I probably would never swim in any of our 10,000 plus lakes. Um, but I'm always curious why people pick certain mascots to be kind of their brand representative.
Yeah, I mean, the three characters are animals that you could potentially find on a golf course. So that was, one reason. Like you could stumble across a wolf. There's gators and crocs on golf courses, maybe not in Minnesota, but in Florida and up the northern end of Australia and that sort of stuff. And then obviously bunny rabbits. I'm assuming on most golf courses
We
across
have
the
those here.
world. Yeah. So that was one reason. Another, we played around with a bunch of different designs in the lead up process. And they were just the ones that sort of stood out at us the most. Hunter, he's the leader of the pack. It made sense for him to be a wolf, pack animals leader. Um, Bunky, she's our fiery, like strong, tough character. It's kind of funny to put her as a little tiny bunny rabbit and make her the strong, fiery, strong female character. And then Chippy, I don't know, it's just, yeah, he's a fun, lovable alligator. What's not like to love about that? Like
It's like
yeah,
it's like the perfect trio. You've got the stoic leader in Hunter, and then you've got the feisty fiery one in the bunny, and then you have the comic relief, which is Chippy.
exactly,
I
exactly.
also love
And
that
then
you
there's
have a female one, because one of the things Derek and I always talk about is not only growing the game of golf, but growing it for women to feel like not that they're allowed to play, but that they are able to kind of walk on a course and join everybody. I don't feel like they're very well represented in golf, because everybody kind of laughs at the LPGA and everything. And I'm like, those women would kick my ass on a golf
oh,
course
oh, wouldn't even be
without,
close.
they would destroy me and they wouldn't even break a sweat.
Yeah, yeah, I wouldn't have a chance.
No, the worst LPGA player would smoke me. The worst PGA player would smoke me. I'm willing to bet the worst college player, man or woman, would smoke me.
Absolutely, I'm in the same boat. Absolutely.
It's crazy. So I love that there's a strong, powerful woman, whether that's intended or not. I like that. I think that's kind of a cool little feature of Hazard Hunters. Like I said, whether that's regard or whether that was the point or not, I think that does a really great job bringing more and more people into golf, which is how it should be.
Absolutely, for sure. The game would not be where it is today without the women that brought it here too. So we
Oh
have to pay
yeah,
our respects. Yeah, absolutely.
there's a lot of unbelievable, talented golfers who are women.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen them include some in the TGL. I think that would have been really fun if they had, made it a mixed competition. I think there's a really missed opportunity there, unfortunately. But
Oh, it
it'll
would
be
be
interesting to see
cool.
if they
Yeah.
change that moving forward in future seasons.
Oh, it would be cool. I don't even know what TGL stands for.
Yeah, I don't know because they say it's not the golf league, but that would make sense if it was the golf league. I don't know if I don't know if it actually stands for anything. I think it's just the TGL or
Okay.
TGL. I don't know. It's
Oh,
confusing.
okay.
Yeah.
Dumb. Okay. Anyways, um, so when did you guys start Hazard Hunters? Kind of the story behind the brand. Um, yeah, I kind of read your about us section, but
hmm
I would like to hear kind of behind the scenes stuff, how it started, when that idea really came to life.
Yeah. So one of the co-founders, Michael, came to the other co-founder, KB, and had a bit of a chat about wanting to start a fashion brand and sort of what area they wanted to get into and focus on. And then noticed sort of the golf niche and the golf streetwear niche sort of starting to take off, and saw this trend of it really starting to pick up, similar to what skateboarding had done in the 90s. And really had become like a culture rather than just the sport itself. Uh, and saw that this was kind of starting to take place. This was in, I believe it was late 2022. They came to me in 2023. I had a background in marketing and comms and asked if I wanted to jump on board as part of the team. And we went through a lengthy process of developing our first season. It was like a 6-month process of going back and forth with our designers and our factories and working on little pieces and tweaking little bits. And we got to the 6-month mark and we weren't really happy with how it had turned out. We kind of, I don't know, we knew we knew that we could do better, and we didn't want this to be the first thing that we brought to market. So we completely scrapped everything, went back to the drawing board, brought in a new designer, and just like completely reinvented where we were going with the brand, and then launched that in March of last year. Uh, so I've been running for, what's that, 8, 9, 10 months at the moment.
Yeah, 10 months.
Yeah, about 10
Yeah,
months.
definitely not eight. Definitely
Yeah,
10. Yeah.
yeah, it's about 10 months.
Wow, what a ride.
Um, yeah, and then so obviously it's been, there's a lot of learning curves that come from starting a brand, and Uh, we've made a lot of learnings over the past 10 months and sort of made adjustments in how we do our branding. And if you look at the characters, the initial characters that we had look a little bit different to the characters that we have now. And that was sort of just to align them more to the 90s inspiration that we
Mm.
try to draw from a lot, that you'll see, especially in our latest collection that's just dropped, our Clubhouse Classics collection. It's heavily 90s influenced and inspired. And you'll see that again when we drop the rest of the collection in February.
You guys are just what a ride. Like, so before we dropped our first episode, I think we did like 3 or 4 test runs just to make sure
Mhm.
like we knew what we were doing. It kind of reminded me of how you guys had all of these ideas and then you're just like, that's not right. You stuck to your guns, you threw it out, you redid everything, and now here you are. We had like 3 or 4 episodes where I'm like, hey, should we? And Derek's like, no. And I'm like, should we? He's like, no. And then we finally did the first one, and we're like, that's what we want to do. And now it is so far gone from what the first episode was like that it kind of feels like that again.
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting how it's you guys took skateboarding or not. You didn't take skateboarding, but like you looked at skateboarding and you guys were like, that's what we want to do. Then you made it
Mm.
golf and streetwear. That kind of stuff I think is fascinating because I grew up skateboarding.
Yeah.
I've got some SBs off camera. You can't see them. I've got some. And it just brings me back to rolling around in my driveway, falling a lot. But it brings me back, right? Like I wasn't really around in the 90s. So like I didn't experience a lot of that. I wasn't born until 97, not to make everybody feel really old. Um, but I always love when stuff or companies really look at that and go, we could do that too.
Mm.
And like you said, you're marketing guy, you're the comms guy. A lot of you just kind of have to go with like your gut. And that's like the scariest part for people when it comes to starting a company or a business or even like an Instagram page. Like you just don't trust your gut. You guys trusted your gut. And now you're at what, 12,500 followers. Don't know how many sales you've done, but like stuff looks nice, looks quality. And there's stuff that's sold out. So you have like the three-headed monster right there.
Yeah. It's definitely going in the right direction.
So where do you guys want to take Hazard Hunters? Do you want to be like some of these other companies doing the streetwear inspired stuff? Do you guys want to keep not adapting with the times, but obviously stuff, it's just like anything in fashion, right? There's a cycle,
Mhm.
because now all of a sudden tight jeans are out and everybody's wearing these like really baggy jeans. I don't know if that's how it is in Australia or not. That's how it is here. I hate it. So I don't have any baggy jeans. Then people think I'm old, and it's a whole thing. Um, but do you guys foresee Hazard Hunters kind of being this throughout the lifespan, or do you see it kind of adapting and rolling with the times and everything like that?
I think it's important for a brand to adapt and evolve as the times change. You can't get stuck in one space just because it was working then and then not adapt and grow as the audience grows and the space grows. But I think we'd still like to keep our core values and everything at the very base of the brand. Obviously, like our characters aren't going anywhere. They're always going to be an integral part of our brand. We're always looking at ways to grow the Hazard Hunters universe, which is a big thing for us. Like we'd really like to start to focus on community building a lot more and make Hazard Hunters a real community globally, not just in Australia, but in the US and the UK, and make it a real, like, you can go to the UK and you'll see a Hazard Hunter shirt and like you just feel that sense of connection with that person because you're part of this same community. Like one of the reasons we have 3 characters is that there's always room for that fourth person.
Mm.
Typically golf is played in 4s, so it would make sense for our group to have 4, but you are the fourth. Like we have 3 plus you. That's kind of a
That's
little,
fun.
like there's always room for you to join our group. If you're up for a tea time, there's always space with the Hazard Hunters. Like that's kind of where we want it to go. We want
Mhm.
it to be a real community of people. And a sense of pride when you wear the clothes. It's not just like, oh yeah, I've got a cool shirt with a sick design. It's like, no, like I actually really am invested in this brand and I want this brand to do well because I feel like I'm a part of it.
That 3 plus U is, I didn't think of that. And now that you said it, genius. Like
Yeah.
that. So I am fascinated by not just brands, but people who do all this planning for these brands. Like, oh man, the reason we have three is because there's room for a four. I've never looked at things that way before. I shouldn't say that. I've never looked at starting something with that intent in mind. I'm fascinated how people's brains come up with this kind of stuff, or the fact that some people have that idea right away and then base their whole company around it. I My brain does not function that way. Um, I've always been fascinated. That's so cool, and I think that's what I enjoy about having all these different people and companies on. Um, it's just kind of learning everything. Like there's so much behind the scenes stuff that your normal person doesn't understand or even think about. Like you're saying, you don't want them just to have like a cool shirt. You want them to say, "Man, I really like I know this brand. I love this brand, and this is me supporting them." But on the flip side of that, you're also like, "Damn, somebody's getting a really cool shirt."
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of big companies don't do that, and I think that's where kind of the smaller, more intentional and meaningful companies are getting their start and they're shining. I think it's great. Um, I did want to ask. So we had Jordan from Odin Golf on, and we work with Jordan
Mhm.
quite a bit. Odin's based in Germany, and to play golf in Germany, you need like a license, which is crazy because I would never get a
Wow.
license. They'd no, you're done, like revoked. How big is golf in Australia? And do you have to have anything like a license or anything like that? Or is that just like a German thing, which I would not be surprised
I've,
about?
we don't have to have a license. I've never heard of the golfing license before. It sounds like a joke that my mates would play on me, be like, "Oh, you have your golf license?"
It'd be like, do you check your
um,
car's blinker fluid?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, golf in Australia, it's big. I wouldn't say it's as big as America. I feel like America obviously is the leader in golf. Like I think your college programs and everything else really set you apart from the rest of the world in terms of, you know, the golf culture.
Mhm.
Uh, but it is big. Yeah, like there's golf courses everywhere. Like I'm from Canberra, which is, a somewhat smallish town, a somewhat smallish city, sorry. And we have an abundance of public golf courses here. Like I'm pretty easily can call up on a Saturday and get a tee time late on that afternoon somewhere. That makes
Mhm.
sense. I don't know if that's similar situation or the rest around Australia. Um, but yeah, I'd say the culture's not quite as big here, but it's still quite an exciting culture. We've
Okay.
definitely got the weather for
So I've heard. Never been there.
it.
So I've heard. I've heard your guys' winter is our summer though, and that's weird thinking about.
Yeah, so we're in summer right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like 9 degrees here, so it's a little weird.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
just, obviously we were talking earlier, it was like -16 when I left for work, and I just haven't been warm since.
Yeah, it's
But
a different kind of cold over there.
yeah, I have
Yeah.
shout out the group chat. We have a bunch of friends that and they're like, guys, it's like sub 40 in California, and I'm like, guys, I would kill for it to be like 37 degrees right now. Like
Yeah, too cold. No, thank you.
I have a company car, and that thing did not want to start today. I was like, I just might not make it. I don't know what to tell you guys, but like,
I'm pretty
and it
sure if
just
your
what
company car doesn't start, you don't have to go to work. I'm pretty sure
it,
that's built in the contract somewhere.
I gave it 3 tries, and I'm like, if it doesn't start on three, calling
Call
it.
it.
Started on the
Yeah.
second. Made me sad. Uh, Are there any other kind of bigger golf brands out of Australia? Just because I haven't really heard of any. That being said, I haven't really looked though.
Mm. I know there are definitely a couple of others coming out of Australia. I don't know if maybe their focus is more on an Australian market, and potentially they haven't been advertising as much in the United
Mm.
States, which is potentially why they haven't popped up over there. But there are absolutely a few other Australian-based brands which are slowly starting to take off.
That's cool. It's
Yeah.
cool to see companies from all over the world focus on golf,
Mm.
which is kind of weird in a way because you're like I maybe it's like the American in me saying this, but like you almost feel like golf is just in America, and then you're like, God, no, it started in Europe. But then you're like, oh well, they play in Australia and Japan. I mean, golf in Japan looks wild.
It does.
Um,
Yeah.
I bet you golf in Hong Kong is wild,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's
Not a heap of space, but yeah.
oh, I didn't think about that. I've never been there.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a lot of
It's
places.
it's it's nice.
Um, but it's kind of cool to see all these new companies come out of the woodworks and all focus on the same thing. I think it's that one thing globally that everybody's like, yeah, we could make golf more accessible.
Mm. Yeah. I
So
think it's never been more exciting time for golf, right? Like it's obviously had a boom through COVID and the early 2020s. Um, which exploded the sport. And then, you had Live joining in, which also exploded the sport. And now you've got what they're trying to do with the TGL. Like, it's never been more exciting to watch golf apart from maybe watching Tiger in his prime. And that's just because it was Tiger in his prime. Like,
yeah.
the sport of golf itself has never been bigger. Uh, and it's exciting. It's exciting to watch.
So I know golf in the US, I can't speak for the US, but at least golf for social media really blew up in 2020, which is obviously
Yeah.
pandemic based. It was like the one thing a lot of people could do. How was that in Australia? Because obviously you guys had a much different lockdown than we did here,
Yeah.
and even state to state in the US was incredibly different. Minnesota was one of the more relaxed ones where as soon as it warmed up and we were able to go outside, the state representatives, state leaders were like, "Hey, you should go outside. You're
Mm.
miserable." And we're like, "Yeah, we really should." So golf courses opened up almost immediately. But I know in Australia it's a little bit stricter, obviously a little less contact with everybody.
Yeah.
How did that affect golf, or was it positive, negative?
Yeah, again, I can only speak from my experience here in Canberra. I know that, again, state to state, it changed vastly. Like Victoria I think they had the longest lockdown out of anywhere in the world during that period. Whereas we didn't really get too badly locked down. Like golf courses, from my memory, didn't really ever close, which
Hmm.
was one of the reasons it kind of took off was because all they had to do was move their cash register outside and then basically they could keep patrons on the golf course because it's such a socially distant sport. It didn't make
Mhm.
sense to shut them down, um, which was a lot of the reason me and my mates started really getting into golf was it was the only thing to do. So we started going out to the local golf courses and hitting rounds of what would have been probably 180, 200 if we were counting, like just absolutely atrocious. Uh, and just like re-sparked that love of golf that I had played it a little bit when I was a kid, but not much.
Yeah, and I know here in Minnesota it was weird because obviously, like for like half the lockdown, it was winter for us.
Yeah.
So it's like
Okay.
we're not doing anything anyways, and obviously it
Yeah.
starts in March is kind of like the start of our spring, but it's like it's cold. We're not doing a whole lot. And then obviously April, it still snows and blah blah blah. So I guess from like my point of view, like it wasn't really that bad here because it's like, everyone's like, oh, we can't go outside. It's like, what are you gonna do? It's cold. There's snow. You're gonna sit inside anyways.
Mm.
Um, but then all of a sudden people could start golfing, and golf absolutely exploded.
Mm.
And you couldn't get tee times anywhere. Um, I know right now in like California and like the LA area, people are
Yeah.
buying up tee times and then reselling them, which is
Yeah, I've
crazy. I
heard.
don't know if you've heard about that.
Crazy. Yeah.
Here during that time, it was just booked. Like there were so many people trying to get on the course. It would be like just your little, rinky dink muni, not very nice, just kind of a course, right? And they're like, yeah, we're booked out like a week.
Crazy.
And it's one of those things where looking back at it, that's kind of when I think golf, like you said, I think that's when golf got exciting. Because
Yeah.
now,
Okay.
not even from like a professional point of view, but just like people watching point of view, incredible. You're like, "Ah,
Yeah.
better than him, definitely better than him." But to see everybody outside and, struggling, but also having fun with the same game, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll put up with it. But that's, you're absolutely right. That's when golf got exciting. And I think right now it is like the most exciting time for golf outside of maybe the Tiger stuff. But I wasn't really around for that. So I don't
Yeah. I was very
really,
young as well. So
I
yeah, I didn't really
was,
couldn't fully appreciate it.
yeah, because I know he went on a tear in like what, 2001.
Yeah. Early
I
two
was,
thousands and then yeah.
I was four. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, like,
Yeah. Exactly. You
sorry.
can't appreciate it at that age. Exactly.
No, it's not that I don't appreciate Tiger because like his contributions are absolutely unmatched.
Oh yeah.
But like I wasn't around. I gravitate more towards Bubba
Yeah.
and some of these other guys. But um yeah, no, I think right now is the best time for golf. And if you're not into golf and you want to try it, now would be the time. Even though we've got all these brands popping up, we've got affordable golf clubs if you know how to look for them, which is I mean, the biggest deterrent is how expensive the freaking metal sticks are.
Mm.
Um, you've got affordable golf ball brands if you want to look for those too. Like, there's really nothing holding anybody back. Even your guys' apparel, super affordable. It's $45 for a polo.
Yeah, so the new classic polos that we just dropped, we wanted to try and bring them out at a really, really competitive price. Um, and yeah, $45. I think, yeah, I mean, obviously we would say this, but I think you would really struggle to find a polo of this quality for anywhere near that price, honestly. Yeah, yeah, people should definitely check it out. But yeah, if you can find a polo for $45 that's as good or better quality than ours, please let us know.
So let's talk about the new classic collection.
Yeah,
Or is that what you're calling it? The
Clubhouse Classics.
Clubhouse Classics.
Yeah.
Um, what was like the inspiration for it? Because I only briefly glanced through it just because I wanted
Mhm.
to see like the pricing and everything. It's very well priced, and everything looks like it's a very high quality. But what's the idea? What's the story behind it?
So for this collection, we wanted to move away from the heavy character designs, purely not because they're going anywhere. They're always going to be a part of our brand, as I said earlier. But um, but sorry, I just got a message pop up and it completely distracted me. uh, um, uh, Sorry, we wanted to move away from the characters for this collection just to give people the opportunity to rep Hazard Hunters without potentially having, Hunter or Chippy on their back. Potentially we thought that, if you're going out on a date or out to the pub, you potentially don't always want a big character on your back, but you'd still like, some heavy graphic designs. Which is why we wanted to do this Clubhouse Classics collection, which is a nod to the 90s and is heavily 90s inspired, but without so much of the characters. And the polos is a little bit more of a cleaner polo. You could wear it to work, you could wear it to a function, you can wear it on the golf course. Again, not everybody wants to wear Hunter's head to a work event or etc. So we wanted to just expand our range in that way.
So it's well, when I think of 90s, I think of like big colors, you know, big graphics. Um, but I like that you guys still kept it 90s with the polos, the tees, it feels very 90s, but you also didn't lean super heavy into the 90s, right? Like there's a balance, right? Because I guess when I think of 90s golf, I think of big Max Fly logos
Yeah.
on everything. And you know what I mean? Just like the like tastefully done and like timeless, but also, you can't always imitate it and get the same, feel, structure, stuff like that. Um, do you guys have another launch coming anytime soon? A new collection after?
So we will have more collections dropping later in the year. So what you see of the Clubhouse collection is just three of the pieces so far. We have another four t-shirt designs
Okay.
dropping beginning of February, early Feb, which will
Coming up.
complete that part of the collection. Oh, and some more driver covers as well. Sorry, which will complete that collection, and then we'll move on to some more exciting stuff later in the year, with a bit more of a season 2 collection, which is a bit more well rounded.
Okay. So yeah, new stuff coming then.
Yeah, absolutely. Always got new stuff coming. So our focus is going to be heavily on like tee designs. We're really happy with the 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 fit of our tees, and now we're just looking to really pump out a lot of graphic tee designs that we think are awesome. So definitely keep an eye out on our website. We'll be updating it a lot this year.
I'm gonna need a bigger closet. Like just thinking about everything. Um, I think I need one of it's a big old chippy. Give me a big old chippy face.
Yeah, he's definitely. Yeah, I think it's hard to go past Chippy. He's just so lovable.
Yeah. No,
And
it's
that cheeky grin.
I had a conversation with our guy Maddie from Pare. I don't know if you follow Pare at all, but a company out of New Jersey. And he was saying how Lacoste and like Filipino people go hand in hand. Like Filipino people love Lacoste because that's like how, they could symbolize, hey, like we made it in America is
Okay.
Lacoste. I thought that was super interesting. Um, because I am not Filipino. I am about as white as they come. 36% finish. So,
It's pretty white. It's pretty white.
thank you. Um, so whenever I see Chippy, I think of Lacoste,
Okay, yeah.
but like Lacoste with like the Kaz kind of facial structure. I don't know if you know what Kaz is. He does
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing with the X's. Obviously, your
Mhm.
guys are T's, but it felt very old school and new school at the same time. We just how I just said, there's a fine line. Sometimes you can't always imitate things properly. By no means am I saying you're imitating Lacoste and Kaz, but it does feel very streetwear and golf, which I feel
Awesome.
like
Thanks for that.
people either lean heavily too far one way or the other.
Yeah, it's a delicate balance for sure. But yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. It's great to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I like to try to find things that like I'm like, oh, it reminds me of that. So it was just funny that I was talking to Maddie, he's like, yeah, Lacoste. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I've got this company coming on and they use an alligator. And now I just see him as Lacoste, but like way cooler.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know, I've never worn Lacoste. At least I don't
We'll
think
take
I
that.
have.
We'll take that. Yeah.
So I do want to ask, just since non-golf related, I'm always trying to like work on like my slang
Hmm.
from other places. So like
Yeah.
I'm learning Spanish. Uh and I have some friends who have been teaching me like Spanish slang, which has been really fun.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it. But I'm getting there. I almost have like a 60-day streak on Duolingo, so it's very minor Spanish.
Okay.
Um
That's pretty good.
I think so. I've been more consistent with that than like anything else in my life.
Yeah. Nice. I've got a mate who loves Duolingo, uses it every day. And he's like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he can speak Spanish, like he can conversationally speak Spanish now, though,
Oh,
just
I
purely
can
through Duolingo.
if I can read it, I can kind of fumble my way through it, but I've
Yeah.
been more consistent with that than like any relationship I've ever been in or anything, which is makes me feel bad. Um, but what are some like slang terms in Australia, whether that's golf related or not? Um, just because I always think it's interesting how, we both speak English, right?
Yeah.
But there is different. like terminology for certain things.
Yeah, I mean,
It's that way here too. Like we say like oofda and ope quite a bit.
yeah. I don't know. We just shorten words, Aussies. Like, I don't know. We do. We obviously have slang for
Yeah.
words, and like they would. It's just not coming to me now. But like, afternoon, for example, we just say like, "Oh, what are you doing this Savo?" Like, we wouldn't say afternoon. We'd say the Savo. Or like, I'm going to the bottle which is like the alcohol store, the grog shop. Like, I'm going to the bottle. Like, instead of saying bottle shop, we would say bottle, or like
Oh,
arvo, or brekkie instead of breakfast, for example. Um,
yeah, no, we would just say liquor store.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
bottle. Yeah. So like we
Bottle.
just
I like
shorten
that.
words. Um, yeah, that's probably the,
I
the biggest bit of slang for us is just, remove as many vowels and letters as possible from a word.
I like that. I knew Brecky. Obviously, everybody knows the bar. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the stereotypical stuff. But
yeah,
um, Bottle is pretty cool. I like that one.
yeah. Macca's, we call McDonald's Macca's.
I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
yeah.
I don't know
I'm trying to
why,
think if there's
but you
anything
do.
golf specific that I could think of. Not off the top of my head.
Like, is Birdie still Birdie? It's not
Birdie,
like
still birdie. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. We still use all the common terms. We probably
okay.
just call our mates different things.
I think we do that here. So like a Minnesota slang. Oh God. We say ope, which is like oh, like oop, let me scoop by ya, like ope,
Hmm.
OPE.
Oh,
Pretty loose ended, but you can say ope in a lot of situations. Same thing as like oofda, like you've had a long day, you're just like oofda, like that's it. Um, one that I get a lot of shit for. Um, what do you guys call something you bake in a dish in the oven?
I don't know. I think it depends.
So like some people would say it's a casserole, right?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, we call it a hot dish.
A hot dish. Okay.
Hot dish. Yeah.
There's no mucking around. It's a dish and it's hot.
Yeah, and not everything cooked in that dish is a hot dish though.
Okay.
Like lasagna, not a hot dish.
Yeah, okay.
Does that make
It's
sense?
only casseroles that are hot dishes.
I would
Or
say
like,
yes.
yeah, okay. That is an
Be-
interesting one.
So like yeah, because not I wouldn't say like a lasagna is a hot dish. I would say it's a lasagna, but I also would not call a tater tot hot dish a tater tot casserole.
Yeah. Yeah,
Welcome,
okay.
welcome to Minnesota.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. No, I've
Yeah,
never heard of that one before.
yeah. We also don't say duck duck goose. It's duck duck gray duck.
Duck Duck Grey Duck.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I grew up playing Duck Duck Grey Duck. My
Interesting.
dad's from the northern part of the state. I think he grew up saying Duck Duck Goose. No,
Yeah.
it's Duck Duck Grey Duck.
Yeah, okay.
Um, what's another one? So it's not really a slang. It's just something we do. Um, whenever it's cold out, we always say it's just because of the wind.
Okay, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it'd be fine if it
It's
didn't
not
have
cold,
that
it's just because
wind.
of the wind. Yeah. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
we do
That's
that.
yeah. Sounds like
Um,
something we'd say here.
except it's never really
Except
that
it's not that
cold.
cold exactly, but for the
Yeah.
heat. We do the opposite, but for the heat.
Oh, it'd be less hot if it hit the sun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah. Something like that.
um, we depending who you talk to, we say words weird too in Minnesota. So like,
Okay.
generally we hold our O's.
Yeah.
So like boat, like I say boat really weird.
Yeah, okay. Like extends it a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, like Minnesota, boat.
Yeah.
Um, we say bag, which I guess is wrong. Yeah, I don't know.
Bag.
Bag.
Like just a bag. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know. Sounds all right. Similar.
that's what I say.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't know.
people from out of state are like, dude, you say bag weird. I'm like, no, it's a bag.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's funny, just like those little pronunciations. I know when I was in the States, I went to I think it was a Wegmans, one of the stores there, and I tried to order a meatball sub, and this lady looked at me like I was speaking an entirely another language. She's like, "Sorry," and I was like, "A meatball sub." She's like,
Yeah.
"A maple sub." I was like, "No, no, no, like meatball." Like, and then my American friend who was with me was like, "He's saying meatball," and like. And then she's like, "Oh, meatball," and then made me a meatball sub. But she like legitimately thought I was asking for a maple sub,
Okay.
which is also because I mumble a little bit. But I was just so surprised in like I'm saying the same word as you.
No, I mean, state to state here. I'm sure it's the same way in Australia, where like it's so different state to state. Uh, like you go down south and they don't call shopping carts. They call them buggies.
Yeah, it's so different in the States. Even like your accents look way different.
Oh yeah, like
Yeah, we don't get
I,
that as much in Australia.
like I guess for me, I don't have an accent because I'm so used to hearing it in my head, which is
Yeah.
weird to think about. But then all of a sudden I go to California and they're like, "Oh my God, what did you just say?" I said, "Oh,
Yeah.
let me scooch right by you." Like, sorry.
Yeah, I love that. Australia is just like pretty much you just sound Australian. Like if you're on the West Coast or you're on the East Coast or you're in the North or the South, like there's a few different words that people use. Like some places call it a chicken palmy instead of a chicken parma, and like different words for different things. But mostly people just sound Australian.
Yeah, and I guess like if someone said, "Oh, chicken parm versus chicken parmy," you could
You
figured it
figure it
out,
out.
right?
Yeah. Yeah,
If
exactly.
someone
Yeah.
said, "Hey, Dom, go grab a buggy," I'd be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Like, no, that's a cart. That's a shopping cart. Like, I'm not gonna go to Target and grab a buggy.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I love it. I love it.
That's the cool part about this. We do golf and things, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'm fascinated with other countries. Like I only know America, and America is kind of a mess for a lot of the time. Um, so it's always cool when somebody comes on and they're like, "Oh, I'm from so and so," and oh, that's interesting. Like we had Ollie on, and Ollie's from the UK, and he does sink golf. He makes putters,
Oh, cool.
and I'm like, I really want one, but obviously he makes them. They're expensive, and they should be expensive because they're art. I should have asked him some of the slang questions. I didn't think of it though. If I could go
Mm.
back in time, I'd
British
like
slang would
to
be, yeah.
hear some British slang.
Yeah. I wish I had more for you. I'm sure there's heaps, but every Aussie watching this would be like, mate, how have you forgotten this? How have you forgotten this?
See, it's hard because some things like might not be slang to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I would just, yeah, I'd probably use them every day.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, because there's probably stuff that I say every day
yeah.
that is normal for me that I would never consider slang. But like the Minnesota ones are like ope, um, definitely ope and hot dish are like the main two that we're known for.
Yeah. One I
Then
learned the other day from TikTok was at the end when we sing happy birthday to people, like at their birthday,
yeah,
most countries, from what I've apparently now learned, they finish the song and it just stops. Whereas we go hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray at the end. So like,
that's
and
way
it'll be
more
like
fun.
one person will say hip hip hooray, hip hip, and then the rest of the group will say hooray. It was like hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray. And
That's
I only
fun.
just learned that we only do that off through a TikTok.
Yeah, that's a you thing. We had our TikTok
Yeah.
ban.
Yeah, I've heard, although that didn't last long.
No, no, I like to think it's because the people were so outraged and the government listened to us that they're like, ah, they can have their TikTok back. In reality, I can almost guarantee you this is going to be political and politicized till I die. But my God, yeah, we had TikTok banned for like, I think it was less than 12 hours.
Yeah, yeah. And the internet lost its mind.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
from what I heard, anyways, it was like late enough at night where I'm like, oh, I can go to bed.
It's wake up, it's still there.
Yeah, well, I was there when it got banned. Like I was doom scrolling, and
Yeah,
then all of a sudden it wouldn't let me doom scroll anymore, and I was like, "That's the end."
yeah. We had a good run.
I had a great run. So back to Hazard Hunters, because we get a little off track, and by we I mean me. Um, when it comes to what you guys are doing and kind of the future of the company, do you see this or foresee it being in any like pro shops, clubhouses? Um, not even that, but like, do you want to take it to the next level and have it in like a sporting goods store or like a golf shop? Not necessarily like on a golf course. I guess I don't know if you guys
Yeah.
have like Dick's Sporting Goods or like PGA stores or whatever.
Nah, not currently. But it is definitely something, we'd love to get a part of. I think for us, a big part of it is feeling the quality of the material as well.
Mhm.
Like, and then matching that to the price point that you're getting at it and going and looking at it and feeling it and going, wow, this is actually really, really good quality at a really competitive price. So I think, yeah, for sure, we'd love to get inside of a Dick's Sports Good, for example, or an equivalent over here, or even some other online wholesalers as well. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I think I mean, like you said, being able to like feel and like touch them,
Mm.
I think is super important because, you know, how much different is a $45 polo versus the $90, $100 Nike polo? You know what I mean? And I think when consumers touch and feel things and they go, ooh, like it does feel good even at the price point. I think more often than not, we're getting into a stage of society, at least I like to think this, that brand doesn't matter as much anymore. Now it's all about, how do I feel wearing this?
Hmm.
How does the price point reflect the quality? And you know what I mean? Um, I have, I don't know what polo I have, but I have one of your polos and it's green, the beautiful green. I should have grabbed it, but it's hanging up in the laundry room. I
We're going
really
to
don't
be the
want to.
chippy one. Oh, yeah,
That's
chippy.
it.
Yeah.
It's got chippy. It's got like the orange flap by the
Yeah.
buttons.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. Remember, it's heavy, but like a good heavy. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
quality heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's one of our friends said it the best. It's like, it's heavy but light. It's like a really weird mix of like you pick it up and there's like weight to it, but it's light. It's
yeah,
yeah. Again, you just have to feel it for yourself.
yeah. And it's like I know what you're saying because I get that, right? It's like God, I'm like looking at my desk or something. It's like this tequila bottle. I don't mind how empty it is. Um, Imagine picking this up. It's got this really cool label. Tequila is my favorite drink, for example,
Love
which is
love a
true.
bit of
I do love
tequila.
tequila.
Yeah, good
It's
man.
got this really cool label. You're like, God, this is gonna be great. And then the bottle's squishy and plastic, and they're charging you as much as a glass bottle. You're like, that something's not right. And then all of a sudden they make it plastic and it's got that weight to it. And you're like, oh, like it just feels quality. That's kind of how the polo was for me. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
it's different than a normal golf polo, right? It's not super
yeah.
thin. I wouldn't say it's like a technical material by any means, but it's so high quality that it's like it doesn't matter.
Mm,
Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and it's surprisingly breathable as well. Um, so our first polos that we dropped were the original Hunter ones. They were 100% cotton, and they were a little bit like if it got too hot, they became a bit sweaty. Whereas
Mhm.
this, I don't know, the change that we've made in the makeup of them has just like completely eradicated that. I don't get the sweat marks anymore. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to wear it. It's been cold.
yeah, no, fair enough.
It snows and then all of a sudden we can't do anything for like 6 months.
Yeah.
True story. Um, but I'm excited to wear it. 'Cause I think it's gonna be that, like you said, it's breathable but heavy, and we have a lot of like early season golf. I think that is like a layer would be really nice.
Mm, yeah, definitely. Definitely. And then, we've also got obviously the honored knit vest. which is a great layering piece. I was very like anti-vest at first. I was like, well, I wouldn't ever. I don't think I'd ever actually wear it. And I started wearing it when I was golfing, and it's the best because you've got all the movement in your arms, but your core temperature is just like perfect.
That's how I feel. Like I
Yeah,
look at things and I'm like, I don't think I'd ever wear that.
yeah,
So I think you're talking about like that sweatery vest.
yeah. It's a knit vest.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'd ever wear that. I have worn a vest golfing, like a zipper one,
Hmm.
and that's something I never thought I'd wear.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, spot
yeah.
on. Like
Underrated. Vests
my
underrated.
arms loosey goosey. You know, I got all
Exactly.
the range
Yeah,
of motion that my body will let me, but then like my core temperature was nice.
yeah. Absolutely. Vests underrated for a game of golf.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is- That's not really a hot take, but I like
It's not a
that.
hot take, but we'll claim it as one anyway. It's the hottest take of this episode. I
Is that the hottest take of the? Well, I guess if you don't agree with
don't
me
know.
politically, that could be a hot take, but whatever.
uh, uh, but yeah, so yeah, we'll be bringing the character polos back in a range of new colorways very very soon as well. So obviously, pretty much all of our character polos are sold out at the moment. Um, and we released those individually. So we did like a Hunter, Chippy, and then we released the Bunky one. And we'll be looking to bring all those character polos back in some fresh new colorways soon.
How good of a feeling is it to see certain items sell out? Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like you wake up. So this will drop Friday morning. You wake up Saturday, and all of a sudden, all the vests are gone.
It
Like,
is a good feeling. Absolutely. Especially when you've worked so hard on the design process and, you've gone through so many iterations, which I think, a lot of people don't see, like, it's hard to see that side of a business. They see the finalized product, but they can't appreciate all the different iterations that it took to get there. And then you
mhm.
finally land on something and it works and it sells out. And yeah, it's an amazing feeling of accomplishment for sure. Um, I think one thing for us is we partnered with the Bogey Wogie Boys for a collab on a tea drop last year, which I'm not familiar. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Bogey Wogie Boys at all.
I've heard of them, and I think
Hmm.
I've heard of them because I think the name is super cool.
Yeah.
Because like Bogey Wogie reminds me of the show Rocket Power for when I was little.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know why those two connect with me. Oh, wasn't there thing Woogity Woogity? Yeah, that's it. That show is the shit. Okay, anyways, the
Yeah.
Bogey
That was
Wogie
great.
Boys.
Yeah. Bogey Wogie Boys, and they're great. They really, really embody who we are as a brand. They're just there having fun. Like at the end of the day, the scores don't realistically matter. They just want out there and go have fun with their mates. We're not out here to be the bet. Like we're never going to make the tour, and nobody cares about our 20 over round of golf. So just go out and have fun, and they really embody that through and through. So we have been working with them since basically we launched, and they've been amazing ambassadors for our brand, and we love working with those boys. But we partnered with them to do a collab on a tee drop, which was really, really fun. We got to develop new characters for the HH universe, and the Bogey Wogie boys got to be involved in that process and got to choose what animals they wanted to be, and got final say on what the design looked like, and got to tweak little things here and there. So we went through this very long design process of bringing Frank and Garrett's characters into their HH universe, which is always something that we wanted to do. And we saw the potential for the universe to just continually grow as the brand grows. Um, and this was the first real test of that, and it was really, really fun. So we dropped a special animation video, which you can find on our Instagram page, which is like Garrett hitting at the driving range, and the ball like goes through a portal into like the Hazard Hunters universe, and then hits his character on the head. It's yeah, go find it on our page. It's really, really fun animation video. But we sold that collab tee out in like under a week, and that was
Oh
just
wow,
like, yeah, it was just a lot of fun to bring their community across and introduce them to the quality of our product.
that sounds fun. I'm sitting here and I'm like, now what would my animal mascot be in the HH universe?
What do you reckon? So many
So
to choose from.
I'm torn because I'd like to do something that represents Minnesota.
Hmm.
that you guys probably wouldn't have in Australia, which would probably be a lot. Um,
Yeah.
the first thing, so like our state bird is the loon,
Okay. Yeah.
like the common loon. But I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, you don't really see loons on a golf course. I've never even really seen one out of water, to be honest with
Hmm.
you. Like you very rarely see them out of water. I was thinking like a moose,
Yeah. Moose would be a good one.
moose,
Absolutely.
because
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a moose in person, but like, holy shit,
I
they're
have not. It was bucket list item when I was in the States, and unfortunately, I did not get to see one.
oh, you don't want to see them. If you see them in person, you're in for a bad day. They're
Yeah,
massive.
I've heard, yeah, and vicious too. Like can get quite violent.
Oh, yeah, no, I think they're
Yeah,
territorial. There have been, I don't know how recently, but there have been like cars that will hit the moose, like just driving, and the moose will get up and walk away.
crazy,
And you're like,
crazy.
that thing's just in our woods. Like, I think I'd pick a moose. That and
Yeah,
we
Moose is a
did.
good op.
I
I'm just thinking like
think
Rocky and Bullwinkle. That's that's what
I
that
was
reminds me
thinking
of when I
like
think of
the
like a
animation
cartoon.
style would be really cool. You can make him like a cool moose with shades.
Yeah,
Um, but then also like where would he wear his hat? Would he wear his hat on his antlers or would he wear it on his head?
yeah. You can
Like
have six hats, just like one, just
you
like
could do one of the
dangling on
really
different parts of
big.
his antlers, and then one in the middle.
You just do a bucket hat and then poke holes in it.
Perfect. See?
There we go.
Perfect. Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
but
and
we
so this is
already
this is the fun side of it, right? Like you get to go through this process. I'm like, oh yeah, I want it to be a moose, and we could do this, and we could do that, and like you know, it's a lot of fun developing new characters.
when we did merch with a loon on it. I'm trying to see if I can find. There it is. No, that wasn't it. Okay, yeah, I can't find it. Remember how I said I need a bigger closet? I think I need a smaller closet. Um, we did hoodies and shirts for our last shindig,
Yeah,
and we used well, and obviously we hosted it here. We host them all over. So like the next one will be in California in May. Um, but we're like, what is more Minnesotan, obviously, than Derek and I? Um, we're like a loon. But then we're like, how do we make it just, a little bit different? And I was like, why don't we do like a sophisticated loon? Because they're
hmm,
kind of mysterious little birds.
yeah,
Their calls are majestic and then they just hang out in the water. They have these really creepy red eyes. So we did it with, he had a top hat on, just cruising through the water. And
love
it
it.
is like the best thing ever. Where the hell? I'm gonna cry
You have
because
to shoot me a photo when you find it.
I will.
Yeah.
I love the hoodie. Oh my God, my closet's a disaster. But I think if I think I'd do a moose.
Yeah, that's a good option.
Moose.
I think the moose could be fun. I think you'd have a lot of fun with the moose. Uh,
Dad and one of the dudes on our hockey team goes by the Moose, Marcus Foligno. Absolute just hits people. That's the beauty of hockey.
looks brutal. It looks absolutely
Oh,
brutal. I can barely stand up on ice, so
I
let
can't.
alone playing hockey.
Yeah, no, I can't either. It's not just you.
Yeah,
And we're
no
supposed
way.
to be
Yeah,
born to do it. I can't do it.
can't say there was a heap of frozen lakes around where I was growing up.
That's fair. That's fair. I'd be worried if there was.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it gets cold in Canberra, but not frozen lake cold.
Yeah, I can't
Uh,
imagine it ever gets that cold.
no, then Canberra gets to like minuses, so like -4, -5 Celsius. Um, don't ask me to convert it.
I would say I can't do that math either.
I can't. So yeah, we get sort of looked down upon because if we don't have beaches and it gets cold. So it's like the least Australian experience you could have in Australia is probably the capital city.
You know what we call that in the States?
What's that?
The flyover state.
Yeah,
Y-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We got some, actually, to be fair, we have nice restaurants and museums, but you're not into food and rest museums, then yeah, keep going.
Yeah,
Fly over.
that same with us, but 10,000 lakes. So if you don't like water sports or fishing, you're screwed.
A lot of water. That's a lot of water.
I think we have more coastline than Australia does.
Really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we got 10,000 lakes.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. That's impressive. I love
Yeah,
stats like that. Just like things you just feel like that can't be real. And it is. You're
yeah,
like, wow.
yeah. Go Minnesota. So obviously, we like to kind of do rapid fire questions towards the end,
Mhm.
just to kind of get a feel. But I do want to go to Australia, so maybe it is possible for me to go to some of these places, um, outside of America, because God knows I want to see the world eventually.
Absolutely. It's
So
beautiful out there.
when you're, well, I guess this was not Australia based, but what is, how do I want to word this? If you could play 18 holes with just one club, what would that club be?
Oh, it would have to be my 7 iron. It'd be my only chance. It's just consider like, yeah, it's the only club where I'm like, if I'm having a bad day, it'll still somehow come through for me. Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, I'd go straight for the 7.
Would
Yeah.
you say that's your favorite club then?
Ah, oh, yeah, probably. I probably just because it's so consistent, and golf obviously is like that is golf is consistency. Like
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's just about being the same fluid stroke every time. So yeah, probably it would be the 7 iron. Obviously, the drive is a lot of fun if you're hitting it well. Um, yeah, if a driver's hitting well, definitely bonging it down the middle of the fairway. There's no better feeling. But yeah, probably the 7 iron would be my favorite club.
I would do, if I had to play with one club, I'm doing a 60 degree.
Okay. Oh, that's going to take you a long time.
No, I can blade it and it's going to go 200 yards.
Okay.
I've tried to hit flop shots and the flop shots have gone like 100 yards. So, like, I'm pretty sure I could get it to all the
Yeah,
holes within like a decent score. Would it
I
be
like it.
great? Not a chance,
No.
but I could
Yeah.
do it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Golf's already hard enough with 14 clubs.
Yeah. I'm doing my 60 though. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
if there's
I
one
like the
club
idea
that,
behind it.
what was that?
I like the idea behind it. 7 iron would be tough when you get close to the green. So I like the
Yeah.
idea of having the 60 because when you're close, it's going to be tough with any other club.
Well, I think the 60 could be wildly effective, right? You're like,
Yeah.
God, I don't know if I'm going to go 10 yards or 110 yards. But like when you're around the greens, you're like, well, I could control it a little bit easier than
Yeah.
me trying to bump and run with like a 7 iron or like a 4 iron.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
60 degree all day, every day. Um, Another one that is my favorite one to ask. What would your walk up song be? So, hole one, you're at a big event. What song is going to get you going?
Oh,
And it can be one of those things that we've had people, have us or give us songs that calm them down. So obviously, it's a big
yeah.
moment. And then we've had other people who want to get absolutely energized and amped and ready to go.
Mm. Oh, that's a tough one.
I've had a different answer every time.
Yeah, because initially I was like lose yourself, like AC/DC, like pump me up, get me
Hmm.
raring to go. But yeah, now I'm thinking, is that just going to get me two, and then I'm just going to hook it so far right because I've just like tried to put too much on it, and I actually just need to just slow it down, calm down. Hmm. Nah, I'd probably have to go AC/DC or something, just really pump me up.
Yeah. You're doing like
Yeah,
Back in Black.
yeah, just like yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I know my answer has changed, I think, every time. Um, think I would do Pure Cocaine by Lil Baby.
Okay, yeah.
You know, when you're this rich, you don't have to check the weather every day. It's gonna rain. That like, come on, like
Yeah.
we're
I
we're
like it.
doing we're doing Pure Cocaine by Lil Baby, and then and I'm gonna walk up, everybody will be like, "Fuck is this guy?" And then I'm gonna hit that ball so far right that they'll be impressed.
I
There's
love it.
not a
Just walk
chance
up
that
there with
ball.
so much confidence and then just
Yeah,
absolutely shank it. Love it.
there's
Do a
absolutely
little
no
quad curl at
chance.
the end as well.
Oh, I always club twirl. It doesn't matter how good or bad it was. It deserves a twirl. As long as I make contact, it's a twirl.
Yeah, I love
Um,
it.
there's no question that I'm gonna walk up there with a ton of confidence with Lil Baby or Pop Smoke or whoever playing. There's not a chance in hell that ball's going straight. It's going dead right. Or I'll overcompensate and it'll go dead left.
Yeah,
There's no way in hell that ball goes down the middle.
no, no chance. No
Not a
chance.
chance.
Yeah, it's hard
But
enough when
my
no one's
God,
watching.
is it gonna be just a beautiful sight?
I love it. I love it.
So we always like to end on something food related because
Hmm.
I like to eat. I'm sure you like to eat.
I do.
I do, yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
if I'm ever in Australia, more specifically where you are, in the capital,
Yeah.
breakfast, lunch, dinner, where are we going?
Um, Breakfast we're having here. It's just gonna be Vegemite on toast. Can't beat it.
Feels like a
It's an Australian
controversial take.
delicacy. Yeah, it shouldn't be. It's the greatest spread for breakfast on the planet.
I've heard it's
That is
really
actually
good.
with this is the most controversial opinion. Scratch that one that we had earlier.
I've heard it's really good, but I've heard that when Americans try it, they put too much on.
Yeah. I probably use more than most people do. Like you just need the tiniest amount. Um, yeah, yeah. Which
Uh,
is, I think, a lot of the issue is people when they try it, they think it's like a peanut butter or like a jam where you like lather it
yes.
on. Where it's not like you heaps of butter, little bit of Vegemite.
Okay. Because
Yeah,
that's what I've heard. I've heard it is super good. It's just Americans when we try it, they like lather it on like it's peanut butter, and
yeah.
I've heard that's what ruins it because of it. It's intense, is what I've
It's
heard.
very intense. Yeah. Very, very salty. Like I wouldn't be licking the spoon or anything. Like you're
Okay.
licking the knife. Yeah. It's very much once it's combined with butter and bread that it becomes tasty. By
Okay.
itself, it's gross.
The butter is key though.
Butter is key. Yeah, you need butter.
Okay.
You need butter on the toast. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, definitely Vegemite on toast. Uh, um, Lunch. I mean, we've got to keep it Aussie because you've come all the way here. So we probably go get. I mean, there's some really good burger joints, which is not really Australian, but there are some really good burger joints here, like a Broad Burger or something. So maybe I'd take you there, or we'd go get a meat pie somewhere. I mean, we're keeping it Aussie. Vegemite on toast for breakfast, meat pie for lunch. Hopefully, there's a cricket game on, so we can have it at a cricket game, just so it's
Oh damn.
a legitimate experience. Because meat pies always taste better at the cricket.
You have to explain
Just
cricket to me then, because I don't.
oh, it's yeah. Yeah, it's like baseball kind of, but goes for 5 days sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. So there's different formats of the game. There's like the 5 day version, there's the 1 day version, and then there's like the 3 hour version.
I think I probably like the 3 hour version.
It's a lot more consumable for sure.
Yeah.
It's a different, and like they're good for their own reasons. I mean, yeah. I have to stop myself now because I'll go down a very deep rabbit hole of like the game of Test cricket and why it goes for 5 days and why that's actually an amazing thing, and like why people would tune in for 5 days to watch it a game. It's yeah.
Like
Once you
what's
understand
crazy?
the sport, it's the
I
best.
guarantee you, I'm gonna Google this, and now I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole of why cricket matches last 5 days.
Yeah, do it. It's yeah. There's no other sport like it. Like it's just like yeah. There's so much on every ball and every field placement's so important. You're like, oh, it's 5 days, like nothing happens, but everything's so important. Like you're building up pressure on the batter by setting these fields, and then you finally get a breakthrough, or they get a six, which completely yeah, it's just the best.
I'm so lost, but that's okay.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, as I said, I'm literally a cricket nerd, so like I literally am holding myself back now from just like unleashing. Maybe we
Well,
can have
and
a
like,
separate call to this, and I could just
and like
like we'll
clearly,
deep
like
dive on Test cricket.
clearly, I like baseball. So like, I
Yes, I can
love,
see that.
I love 9 innings. I've been to like the longest game I've been to is like I think I was there for 18 or 19 innings, which is like two
That's
full
long.
games and then some.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then the Twins I think still lost. Shocker. Anyways, so like it's not like I'm not. 5 days is a long fucking time though.
It is a
That,
long
that
time. It is a
that's a
long
work
time.
week.
Yeah, literally a work week. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a work. That's 40
yeah,
hours.
yeah. And it's like a whole day. Like they're out there from the beginning. It's literally a work day every day. Like they'll be out there for 8 hours.
Good Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
Dinner. We're
Dinner. Ooh. Now this is a tough one. I think we'd probably move away from the Australian cuisine for dinner. I don't
going to
know.
McDonald's.
Aussies. Yeah, exactly. I take you like a McDonald's. Nah, I mean it would either be like steak because we love our steak and we have some really good pubs. So I'd just like take you to a local pub and we'd have like a schooner and a steak with like chips and mash or chips and veg. Uh, Schooner's like a beer.
Okay.
Yeah. Um,
I was going to
That would
ask you what
probably,
that
if we're going to
was.
round off the Australia day, it would be pub meal, steak or a schnitty or palmy, like a chicken snitty or palmy. That would be like you'd wrap up the Australian day. But we have so many like beautiful Asian restaurants here. Like I think we may switch it up and go to like a fine Asian cuisine, like fine dining Asian cuisine, because we have a few here that are like maybe world renowned, but definitely Australian renowned.
Ooh, like I love Vietnamese and Thai food.
Okay, yeah,
So
yeah,
good.
yeah. It's the
Chinese is
best.
okay, but like Vietnamese and Thai
Yeah,
food specifically,
so good.
so good.
So good. So good.
So
Yeah,
good.
absolutely. So yeah, probably take you either to a pub or some nice Asian cuisine somewhere. Um, yeah. If you
Damn.
ever make it to Canberra, we can fill out that roster.
I have a passport.
Okay, that's a good start.
That's like the start.
Yeah, you do need one of those. But yeah, definitely get out there. I mean, I love America. I would love to go back. I love traveling the States when I was there and seeing how different every state was. Yeah, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the South. It's just awesome. Absolutely loved it.
Damn.
But yeah, definitely worth getting out
You,
there and seeing.
it sounds like you've been to more states than I have.
I did a couple of road trips when I was there. So I studied over there for about a year when I was in uni,
Oh,
did an
okay.
exchange. So I
Okay.
studied in upstate New York, in like a small little college town called Brockport, um, which was awesome. So
Yeah,
much
haven't
fun.
been there yet.
It's a small town. It's like near Rochester or like Buffalo. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so much fun. I remember I walked into my first party and it was like, I swear to God, I Love College was playing. There was like a person doing a
Mm,
keg stand. People were playing beer pong. I was like, this is legitimately like straight out of the movies.
yeah, it's just like those like college wild movies. It's just like Van
Yeah,
Wilder.
exactly. It was like, I couldn't believe it.
Mm. America. What a
Love
place.
it. Love it. But
Oh,
yeah, definitely worth getting out and seeing other countries as well because they've all got little parts. Thailand, for example, definitely get to Thailand. The
oh
Thai
yeah.
food in America is good. The Thai food in Thailand is.
I would I'd be pissed if the Thai food in Thailand sucked.
No, you will be absolutely spoiled. Absolutely spoiled.
Well, we could probably sit on here all night, all day for you and
Yeah.
talk about travels and everything, but I don't think we have time for that.
No, you've
Thank
got a
you
lot of
so
cricket
much for
Googling to do.
talking. Yeah, we should instead of a 5 day cricket match, we do a 5 day podcast.
It's like Jersey Jerry when he tried to do that hole in one marathon challenge. Do you see that?
Oh,
It's like
could
I
never
can't even
do it.
remember how long he went for, but it was brutal.
I saw um this fantasy football punishment, and the punishment was he had to stay at a simulator until he got a hole in one.
Oh my
And
God.
he thought that it was going to take him like 2-3 hours. So he didn't bring like a phone charger or anything. And he was like, yeah, it took so long that like his phone died and everything. So he called it a day. And I'm like, but how long did it take you? And then the more I sat down and thought about it, that is a terrible punishment, but I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a great terrible punishment. Like I would
Yeah.
absolutely hate it because by the end of it, you're not going to be able to swing the club. You know, like
Oh
your
no.
arms would just be so tired. Like
And you're gonna
you'd be
hate
end up hitting a driver off the tee box.
yeah. And you're gonna hate golf and you're just
Yeah,
oh the best person to give that to is the person who already hates golf. And now you're like, gotta get a hole in one now. See you later. Well, anyways,
yeah, painful.
it,
Anyway, thank you very much, man. It was really great chatting to you.
yeah,
Really
no,
appreciate you having us
it's
on.
super fun. Obviously, I wish Derek was here because Derek was the one who introduced me to
Yeah.
Hazard Hunters. Um, I think he's doing some work thing because he's more of an adult than I am, which is absolutely fair. Uh, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for teaching me a little bit about Australia and what golf is like in Australia.
No worries.
And I'm excited to see probably in a couple weeks what the next Hazard Hunters draft will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep an eye out for the rest of our Clubhouse Classics collection. And then we're working on another collab with the Bogey Wogey boys as well. So keep an eye out for that in later in the year. And then, yeah, a
If
few other drops
yeah,
as well.
if you use a moose,
We'll
I
let you
don't know what
know.
we're naming them, but you're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll come and have a chat to you when we get to that.
Dude, bring a moose in. I'm telling you.
Absolutely. We need to get one animal from every country at least.
Yeah, I don't. I think as a country,
And the
probably the
bald
eagle,
eagle would be, yeah, it's hard to look past the eagle when you think of America, I think.
bald
Um,
eagle with a mullet. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
now
So
we're
many
giving.
exciting possibilities.
Yeah, now we're just giving ideas away.
We'll take them all. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I'll chat to you soon.
You know where to find me.